Good morning, guys. It is brutally hot here in West Central Illinois. I got up early this morning. I don't know, it's about 8:30 right now. I'm going to head out in the woods. Going to get some freestand prep work done, trying to beat the heat before it gets too hot, but it's already really hot. So about 90 degrees out and super humid, but I'm going to go for it. And while I'm out there trimming out tree stands today, I thought it'd be a really good time for me to be able to share with you guys a little bit about my opinion, what makes a really good year in and year out killing tree location. So I've got to go trim out that stand where you guys watched me kill that big deer with Justin last year. And once I get there, I'll kind of explain why we put the stand there and what's going on around that stand to make it such a great location. So let's get up in the woods, and I'll see you guys there. All right, so we are up here, and for those of you that might remember, the scene of the crime from that big deer that Justin and I killed last year was right about there is where that deer was standing. So you might have noticed on the way up here in the Ranger, a really short ride. And I think a lot of times, one of the most important factors that people don't think about when picking a really consistent killing tree, it's entry and exit routes. How do you get in and out of that without bumping and blowing a whole bunch of deer? And so many people are predisposed to trying to go to the furthest point in, the deepest part of the property possible to get away from the most disturbance. And I'll tell you, a lot of the time that is just not what you need to be doing. And oftentimes that actually makes your entry and exit really bad. So when you look at this spot where Justin and I killed this deer, I'm only 150 yards away from the house. But there's a couple of big picture things that are all coming together right here in this location that we're going to talk about in a minute. And I can squirt right up the hill, jump in a tree, jump right back out the tree, head back down to the house, and not disturb anything on this property as long as the wind is right. That's the number one, first, most important factor, in my opinion, to get a really, really consistent killing tree dialed in for you, okay? Number two, the second most important thing that I think people miss a lot of times on these kind of spots. You have to understand big picture what's happening around you, all right? I encourage most people, jump on Hunt Stand, zoom out, look at 1,000 acres, right, surrounding wherever you're hunting, and understand big picture what's happening on that 1,000 acres. Where are the primary bedding areas? Where are the south-facing hillsides? Where is the high stem count, thick cover? Where's the destination food sources? Where do the bucks prefer to bed, and where do the does prefer to bed? And when you figure all that out as well, oftentimes you can do a game of connect the dots. Circle each one of those spots on the map. It's not hard to do. Circle each one of those spots, and then once you've done that, now, especially for a consistent rut killing stand like this deer that we killed last year, you can do the connecting routes in between those primary destinations where big bucks are going to cruise, and that'll narrow down and eliminate so much property for you. Third thing you've got to do once you've honed in on entry and exit and big picture what's happening in your neighborhood with those deer, the third thing is boots on the ground. That's when you got to get in, walk the ground. My personal favorite time to do it is get in the woods in February or March when there's no trees in the ground, where you've maybe got a little bit of snow and you can see all the major deer routes, you can see how they're using everything. And that's when you start to connect the dots. That's when you start to understand how the deer prefer to use all of the different terrain features and things like that to navigate in between the different destination spots that you've identified in the property. And that's exactly how I identified the spot that I'm standing in right now. So this was a spot when we bought the farm about 3 years ago. It was right behind the house, but boy, all the signs pointed to this spot. I stuck a camera here. In the first hunting season that we had the property, every single big deer on the farm day walked through this pinch point, not once, but usually multiple times. And that is really what ultimately led me to put a tree stand up in this spot. Even though it was so close to the house, I knew I could get in and out quickly. I knew all of the major topographical features of this farm aligned with this was right in between a bunch of them. And it was the easiest path in between all of those major topographical features. So those are the three factors that I would encourage all of you guys to think about when you're picking out your killing tree location. Again, to summarize, entry and exit, understand big picture what's happening in your neighborhood with bedding and food. And then number three, get the boots on the ground and understand how to connect the dots in between those primary sources where the deer want to be and find out how they use the terrain to navigate in between those destination sources. So hope you guys found this helpful. You know, it's a great time to be out in the woods, guys. It's hot, it's miserable, it's not fun to be out there, but boy, the work you do right now with trimming stands, getting cameras out, doing all the stuff to prep and get ready for season, it can pay off big time. And I wish you guys all the best of luck, and hopefully next time I see you, I'll be sitting behind a great big buck, and who knows, it might be right out of this location again. See you next time, guys. Bow Hunter Die.